is also right.
Sir,
No,
we
also
cannot-
what
we
we are,
cannot screen-
he is
we cannot-
fortunate he is in Andhra Pradesh.
Yeah,
Sir,
yeah.
In Karnataka, the scenario is a little different.
yes, I agree.
Okay.
Sir, whatever it may be, suspect every patient corona positive.
And
They will certainly deceive you, and they'll come
Okay.
into your chamber, and we have to see.
so,
Sir, I would like to add just one point, sir.
yeah, you also answer
See-
the next question for walk-in patients also, Deepak.
Yes, sir. See, the point I want to add is whether it is a small setup or a big setup,
Okay,
the senior most person should not be seeing the patient first.
fine. That's a good idea.
Have a younger person, someone who is between is 25 and 35.
25
to
then we
see-
don't get-
No, sir. Or whatever, the youngest in the group. Youngest in the
yeah.
group.
Good.
Because
I agree.
age beyond 55, 60, they are at risk. So it is better that the first person who sees this patient, even
Yes.
with a true history or false history, should
Yeah.
be a young ENT surgeon.
Okay.
And our Vishwas has designed a very good head cover without
Okay.
the disadvantage of a PPE. PPE is not required in a ENT OPD actually.
Yes,
It is very, it is very cumbersome. So
Right.
have one young person to see first,
Yes.
and then the senior sees the screened patient. That's all, sir. Now, as far as the walk-in patients,
Yeah.
ideally it is better not to see the walk-in patients at all. You can straight away put it on your board that there are no walk-in patients which are being seen. But by chance, walk-in patient does come in.
Yeah.
The younger person with the head cover is seeing the patient. He
Okay.
can always send it off if it looks something like corona. That's it.
Fine.
One submission here, sir. Deepak sir, one submission I want to add.
Yes.
Vijendra sir, one point I want to add from Karnataka data that we found, which I think is very relevant to this discussion. In our data analyzed in Karnataka, we found that every corona positive patient had fever with cough. So one thing that is very differentiated is, and this is from our own data from the state government of Karnataka, that when a person has both the symptoms together, please think of corona. But otherwise, with only one such symptom, please note that a lot of fever, because especially pulmonologist, ENT will keep getting patients with either one.
Yeah.
But when the fever and cough are together there, that should raise a flag that this kind of a patient could be positive, could be.
Fine. So time slot we have finished. So
Walk-in
next-
also we finished. Yes, sir. Next.
yeah, the social distancing in waiting area, how do you manage? Vishwas?
Sir, good evening. Good evening to all the panelists and the audience. Sir, the social distancing, the CDC recommended and the WHO recommended is 1 to 1.5 meters. And especially in the waiting area, if you have 3 chair combinations, better to keep the central chair crossed so that they don't occupy that. And a distance between the chairs should be at least 2 meters. And generally, if the waiting area is small, it is better to ask the patient to sit in their cars and your receptionist to call them up when the waiting area is getting emptier. I think that
That's a
would
very
be
good suggestion. That's a very good suggestion. So better not to accumulate them in the waiting area. Let them be sitting outside, and we'll have a telephone. That's what we do it, and also Arshad has given that. So it is a good idea to follow, particularly in smaller setups. Okay.
Yes, sir. And in case we have suspected fever and cough patients, there should be a separate area for them to wait apart from the regular waiting area so that they do not expose the people who are there. So if it is
I think
possible.
the fever and cough patients we should not see at all.
Yeah, that's what. That's what I
Should
want
not
to say.
see at all. Yes.
Yes, there is no fun in making them to wait it separately.
In fact, I give an excuse. I tell the patients that government has made a rule that ENT people are not supposed to see fever and cough.
Yes.
They understand and they go.
That is a correct, good idea. You should try to escape. Tell them clearly that we are not supposed to see the moment. That's the reason we are doing thermal screening. You have to do it and tell them.
Yes.
And we made a placard. Fever and cough are not seen in ENT hospital here.
Okay, that is a good idea. Yeah.
We have made, and we have put it, and they will immediately know. Doctor will not see. That's all.
Fine.
Sir, I have a question, sir. Sir, sir, we are all talking about people who have had their own setups and who are having corporate hospitals. I think we should also focus on people who are having a clinic where the doctor is sitting in one part of the room and then there's just waiting area and a receptionist. So for them, how do they go about these social distancing and other things?
That is, if not a general practice you are talking about ENT practice.
ENT practitioners who are having single clinics.
Single clinic. There also what they
I will answer, sir. I will answer this question, Arshad. You and me are same.
yeah.
The social distancing is as mentioned, but we made another 2 rooms vacant because now we are not having any much inpatient.
No,
So we are making 2
Madhu,
separate
Madhu,
rooms for waiting.
1 minute. He is talking about a person who is having only single room clinic.
With a
Single room clinic.
Yeah.
When a shutter, there's a clinic inside. So those
Yeah,
people.
that's what.
Even in those people, you have
Yeah.
got to be very strict. Keep one patient inside, one
Inside.
patient in the waiting, and remaining people manage themselves on the road, like the way they do in provision stores and all that. You make
Correct,
square
correct.
blocks and make them stand. There's
Correct,
no
correct.
question at all. Yes.
Yeah, and also try to give them a appointment the interval of 15 minutes so that the patient will not accumulate.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So now the patient comes to your OPD. So Vishal, how do you screen these patients when they enter the hospital?
I think Harshad just now alluded to this fact that we need to have larger thing for clinics or whether it's for hospitals, some kind of generic guidelines. Now, I feel he very rightly put it, when we screen patients, whether it is a clinic, a hospital, or a nursing home setting, what we need to understand is it is preferable that if it's a clinic, the outside guard or somebody who is protected. I'm not saying PP protected, but like what Deepak sir said, a screen, a guard or something so that he's not directly exposed, is taking a basic history and using the infrared gun and also checking for, if possible, the Arogya Setu app to see which area he's coming from. These are some of the things that you can do to check. Like in Bangalore, we were checking whether they have a quarantine seal also. Now, there are 4 or 5 points that you can check and add more points to check vigilance to see have they had any travel history, have they had any suspicious symptoms, and pre-screening. Now, why we did that in Karnataka? Now, Madhusudan sir told about the protocols for Andhra. Now, in Bangalore, consistently it was seen in Shifa Hospital, other hospitals, that the moment the positive patient came in, BBMP came in, and then they took out all those people, quarantined them, and after that sealed down the hospital. And the sealing down happened up to 2 weeks because the hospital got empty. In one of the hospitals that I was dealing with the BBMP, talking to them, the entire hospital was vacated and quarantined because all the staff got in and they moved out the patient.
Few weeks. Bad propaganda goes for another few weeks.
Okay.
Absolutely. So it's very, very important that we be vigilant and actually screen the patient. So at HCG, what we did, we have actually created a Shamiana where the screening happens, and if the patient is clear from that Shamiana, he is sent inside so that we need not shut down the place.
Fine. That's good. So every patient has to screen. So Harshad, you want to add anything?
No, sir. Apart from the digital thermometer, I have made a rule that all the patients are checked with a pulse oximeter.
Yes, that is good. That's what I wanted. Pulse oximeter.
Heart rate.
Your sanitizer and mask. Mask and sanitizer. Suppose if they come without mask, we have to provide them mask.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Wear a mask.
Yeah.
Suppose they are coming just holding a cloth across their face or a small kerchief or something. We have kept masks for sale at the pharmacy. So they are supposed to buy those masks and wear it.
Correct. That is very important. So sanitizer, then mask, then temperature, and as they said, oxygen saturation you have to see. These are all very important things. Next is, do you take any consent for these patients, OPD patients?
Yes, sir. I do have a declaration form.
Declaration is different, consent is different. Deepak, you asked this
Yes,
question.
sir.
Yeah.
Sir, we mandatorily take a consent, sir. We have a separate form for that in the OPD, and it is a must. In fact, we can send a copy tomorrow or something, and
Yeah.
We can show it, sir.
Yes.
We can show it.
Yeah, Vishwas must have got it.
Yeah.
Yes,
We
sir.
have a special consent form, sir.
But
Okay.
does it have a legal validity, sir?
Yes.
Does it have a legal validity?
Yes.
Can you just brief what is the consent form says, Deepak?
Sir, that's Vishwas has it with him.
Sir, can I share my screen? Mr. Praveen, can I share my screen?
Please. It's a very important thing because now people are doing so many things. If they are found positive, they will blame the hospital because they came to the hospital, they're getting all these things we are seeing. So that's why we should be very careful about this also. Don't underestimate any patient. Okay. So now earlier we used to take consent only for the surgery. Now we are forced to take consent for even seeing the patient OPD. Am I right, Deepak?
Yes, sir, absolutely. We have to. We have
have
to, sir. Next
Because
4
of
to
the
6 months.
circumstances, we have to dance according to circumstances.
Yes, sir.
Sir, is the consent seen, sir?
Yes, it. Can you?
You can read.
Yes, sir. It says during the lockdown in the wake of the current corona companion, I have come to the hospital by myself as an emergency treatment. I have an asymptomatic carrier or an undiagnosed patient with COVID-19. I suspect it may endanger doctors and hospital staff. It is my responsibility to take appropriate precautions and to follow the protocol prescribed by them. I also know that I might get an infection from the hospital or from a doctor, and I will take every precaution to prevent this from happening. But I will not at all hold the doctors and hospital staff accountable if such infection occurs to me or my accompanying persons.
So it's a good idea. Better to take to play safe role, okay? Because
Uh,
if they come in a, okay. Shall we go to next question?
Yes, sir. You can share your screen, sir. Sir, can I just add a point about the screening, sir, when the patient comes in?
Yes, sure, sure.
Sir, when there are multiple entries and exit points in the hospital, we need to make sure that there's a single entry and a single exit point, because then the screening will be uniform and streamlined. That's one thing for bigger hospitals. Of course, for a clinic, it is going to be very simple. But for the corporate hospitals or the nursing homes, we have to seal off all the entry exits, just keeping one open.
Are you following that in your Trustful Hospital, Vishwas?
Yes, sir. We are. The entry point is actually the emergency ward, wherein
Yes.
casualty, and there they screen the patient individually with a nurse and a doctor. And only if they feel, even if the patient has taken an appointment, only if they feel that the patient does not have any risk factors associated with COVID, then they let them inside. And
Fine.
the exit is also through the same route, sir.
And we have a 6-bedded COVID ward attached to the casualty.
That is an advantage you have in the corporate hospital.
Yes.
We don't have that. That one thing is a great advantage for the corporate hospital people. Okay. So let us move on to the next question. How do you screen patients with the work? Sorry. So the like. Yeah. Do you allow the attenders to enter the OPD?
Sir, actually,
Deepak, yes.
in today's scenario, how much ever we restrict, you will have to allow at least one attender, because sometimes the patient may be a child, sometimes an elderly villager who is illiterate.
Yes,
So
yes.
probably you can allow one attender.
For only these 5 kind of patients, not for another.
And,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and they don't sit inside. When the patient is called in, then only they come from outside and come along with the patient.
Okay, if the
They
child
don't sit in the
mother
waiting.
has
Yes.
to-
Yeah.
suppose
In
the
a child, mother has to be there, sir.
Yes, yes. So that is one thing important. Try to accommodate one patient. Coming to this footwear, they say that footwear is one of the cause for the transmission of this virus. So, do you take any care about the footwear, Harshad?
Yes, sir. We have a provision that to take care of the footwear outside the hospital. Number 2, we have a small attache-like machine. If some people don't want to leave their shoe, they just press their feet in that, and a plastic polythene cover gets wrapped up.
Yeah. I know that.
Yeah, that is more convenient for some people. If they are wearing some expensive shoes, they do not like to leave it outside. So they just enter the premises, they place their foot, and it just gets wrapped around their foot.
So these are looks little silly, but try to take maximum precautions as much as possible. Don't give room for this coronavirus. Okay.
Sir, Vijayendra, sir, one point.
Yes.
In our place, sir, we have made a Telugu written pamphlet.
Okay.
All precautions we are giving time of reception. You have to take care of this. All adult patients, no attender. Only
Okay.
child, and as Deepak Haldipur mentioned, somebody who needs is allowed.
Yes, yes. Fine.
And
This
footwear is,
pamphlet system is a good in a district places, small places. It is really good. They will know what they are going to do and how the exactly. It is a good idea to give a pamphlets. It's a really good idea. So it is better we also start that. So that when
we
they
have
are
written in that pamphlet, please come with empty bladder. Don't try to use the toilets in the hospital. Touching all these areas also infective. Even that point is written in our pamphlet.
yeah, have you written that come in empty pockets?
Sir. They have to bring money
Okay.
or in Paytm.
Okay, we'll go to next question. What changes you have made in your examination room, Deepak?
Sir, in my examination,
OPD.
yes, sir. Sir, first thing is your table should not have all these books and other things which we used to keep all the time.
Okay.
Table has to be clean so that it can be easily cleaned. That is number one.
Yeah.
Number two, no more endoscopes in my examination room.
Yes.
We have one separate ENT surgeon to see the throat or the nose with an endoscope who is in the next room or the endoscopy room where he is wearing a partial PPE, the head cover completely.
Okay.
So in our room, we just do examination of the ear.
Okay.
Nose and throat, no way. At worst, you
No.
can see with the headlight. That's all. Yes.
Fine.
No scopy examinations.
No scope examination.
Yes, sir.
So, Harshad, what I told is, what do you have made any changes in your OPD? Earlier, what you have to do now, because of this corona patients and anticipating corona patients, have you made any changes in the setup, like table, chairs?
Yes, sir.
Harshad has got a good answer for this.
Yes, sir. I have removed all the chairs which were having foam. I have put plastic chairs.
Yeah.
And there is a housekeeping staff all the time holding alcohol-based disinfectant and a mop in their hand. So
Yes.
as the patient comes in and goes out, her job or his job is just to clean the chair on which the patient has sat and clean the knobs.
That is very good.
Number one.
That's
Yes.
excellent. Yeah, that's excellent.
And
Yeah.
number two, we have this polythene wraps which is available in all the department stores, which we cover the food items. So we just roll it on the table on the switches and on my ENT unit. And
Okay.
we just take it off and throw it.
Okay.
Polythene cover.
That is also a very good idea.
The second thing. Third thing is the ACs have been switched off and all the windows and doors are kept open so that there's enough light and ventilation in the room.
This is very important point to be noted. AC should be off and window should be open. Okay.
And number four, there are only two chairs. One chair where I examine the patient. After that, the patient comes and sits opposite to me, a little further away from my table.
Yes.
To speak. So they can speak for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I don't mind because there is a distance of more than 2 meters in front of me.
Good point to be noted. Okay.
So
Then
the point.
We insist.
Yes, I would like to add about the fan.
Yes, sir. Fan, sir.
Fan.
We have put one blower fan behind the surgeon, so
Behind the
that air will flow from the surgeon towards patient, not the reverse.
Yeah, we have kept two pedestrian fans on right hand and left hand side of the surgeon, and it will be blowing on the face of the patient. Behind the patient, windows are open so that the air will pass. This, if you have that facility, this is a simple thing. One can practice in a small places.
Yes.
Anybody want to add anything apart from this?
Sir, can I add a point about the air conditioner, sir?
Yes, yes.
So the air conditioning unit, if it is single and it is connected by a single duct, then it can be used with the doors open because then it will act as a negative suctioning unit. But if the doors are closed, then it will become a positive unit because it tries to blow air and then it tries to suck in air.
Okay.
So
So
in Trustwell, what we do is we have an AC on, but the doors open.
Doors open. Okay, fine.
Yes.
But this is in a trust well they can do that, but in a private practice, fan is benefit.
Yes. And fan is excellent, sir.
Yeah,
Fan
it's
is very
actually
good.
it blows,
Yes,
other
yes,
thing.
yes. And as you correctly said,
Principle is air should flow from surgeon towards patient. Whatever you make the changes,
Yeah,
that is the best prevention.
fine. We'll go to next question.
Sir.
What are the preventive measures taken to staff and doctors before examining the patient? Madhusudan?
Sir, again, we have a fixed protocol, sir.
Almost example.
I'm
Sorry,
only-
sir. 1 minute.
We have two staff members in my room. The
Now-
two nurses will have a head cap, N95 mask, and disposable gloves and sanitizer kept. And our otoscope is now having a small telephone actually to see the nuts and bolts in small fans. So we have made attached to the mobile phone, and you just attach and put. It will just 4 millimeters like endoscope, sir. So
But it will be going very close to the patient, no?
yes, sir. You have to go to the ear, sir. Ear is
That's what.
nothing to be worried.
Compared to endoscope, the distance the endoscope will be far off. This your technique, you have to go very close to the patient. That is not advisable.
Not at all necessary, sir. It has a long wire. Even
Okay.
your sister can put that probe into the ear canal and you can see the image on the mobile phone.
Okay, fine.
Very simple. It's hardly 1,500 or 200, 2,000 rupees available in Amazon. And I'm using for the past many years after my disc prolapse. Not to bend.
Okay, fine.
This is useful.
One more thing, I will go back to the previous question and I want to ask particularly Vishal Rao, how do you examine the throat? Suppose you get a patient of CA larynx or nail, how do you examine these patients? This is for Vishal Rao.
Rule number 1, turn to Dr. Deepak Aldipur's suggestion of the 25-year-old.
Okay.
And then, no, the second thing which I've been doing,
If
sir.
you are a head and neck surgeon, you get a lot of CA of the oral cavity, tongue and throat. So these patients examining
I
is
want to add.
Yeah.
But we have been routinely doing it after the first screening is done. When we know that these patients are asymptomatic, now there is a one possibility that they could be silent carriers.
Yes.
So the simplest precaution we are doing is we are not wearing a PPE, but like a PPE where we wear our. So first thing what I do is I go and I change to my scrubs, like what Dr. Arshad is wearing. I wear my OT scrubs. Then over that I put my OT gown, and then I wear double gloves. And then after that, I put my N95 mask, and over and above that, what Deepak sir said, the face shield, which cordons me off. With that entire setup, I go and conduct a simple Hopkins, examine their throat or the oral cavity, and make my findings. And after that, I dispose that out and I use another one. If I feel I've not made any contact, no gagging or thing, I just clean the entire thing. My nurse comes, cleans that entire area with sterilium. And after that, I continue to the next patient. But this I've been standardly practiced.
How do you disinfect the endoscope?
Sidex or sterilium. See, this coronavirus very easily gets killed with good alcohol swab.
Okay, okay. So this is one thing very important. Examining the throat is very difficult. We have to go use all that mini PPF, what you want to do it. But coming to the cost factor, we have to charge more because of these gadgets, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I have a few this thing, sir. I just wanted to share with you.
Yeah.
One thing is, as soon as the doctor enters the hospital, whether he's seeing ear, nose, or throat, they have to change into their scrubs. That's point number 1. Number 2, they have to wear a OT gown.
Yeah.
Number 3, they have to have their mask. These are the 3 things. Now, with respect to the gloves, see, it's always better to see patients with your bare hand than have a habit of washing the hands with soap and water all the time or with a alcohol-based solution. Because if you're using a glove, then for every patient, they say you have to change the gloves, number 1. Or if you're trying to clean it with these solutions, you're unlikely to clean the entire hand properly. That's number 2. Sir, coming to the visors and the shields and all that, what changes what I have made is, suppose if somebody wants to just use a mask, you have to use a N95 mask, which is not available in the market now. The 8511 mask, which is recommended by the CDC in USA, it's not available in India. most of the doctors who are having are these fake N95 masks. So what
Fake?
yes sir,
100% fake.
yes sir. What I do is I wear a N95 mask like this, and on that I wear a regular Chinese mask,
Okay.
double masks. Number two,
Okay.
suppose if you are not using your
Spectacles.
spectacles, then you can use a goggle which is something like this,
Yeah.
which will cover on the sides.
Okay.
If you are wearing a spectacles, a reading glass like this, it's always better to wear a visor.
Yeah, that is very good.
Best one are the stud visors. So it is like this.
Fine.
So this is a good way of examining a patient, irrespective of the ear, nose, or
Just when you use this visor, does it cause fogging?
if you do not want to use two masks, if you want to
Yeah.
use a single mask, then you should have a very good mask, which is something like this, N95 respirator mask.
Okay, okay.
This one. So on this, a visor or a goggles will do.
Fit.
The disposable kit, we've used for HIV or HBsAg patients
Ah,
comes with a goggles, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
goggle is very, very useful to wear on this respirator mask.
yes,
I
yes.
strongly recommend all of us buy this respirator mask half, because with this you can do microsurgery also very comfortably. You can
Fine,
also do otoscopy very comfortably.
fine, fine.
This mask from Trustwell Hospital, and only two were left.
Pardon?
Only two masks were left in the market yesterday.
Ah,
Picked it up
Okay.
from Trustwell Hospital from Deepak sir's place.
okay, okay. So I will go tomorrow.
The code numbers, so the code numbers for the filters, sir, they're 2091 and 7000 series. Those are the ones effective for virus eradication or at least cleansing.
Purple filter also, which is good in the OT because that has got a very good filtration for the viruses.
Yes,
So
sir.
this you are using in OPD, Arshad?
Yes, sir.
Now this way,
Huh?
you can use it in the OPD or in the OT, both, sir. There is no
Both
problem.
places, sir.
Both places.
Next question will go. How do you give prescription to the patient, Deepak?
Sir,
Routine
then-
file you give
Yeah.
or, yeah, I will change giving
Yes,
prescription.
sir. Technically speaking, the paper is not supposed to carry this virus. So
Okay,
you can give a handwritten prescription, but ideal thing would be to type out a prescription and it is given by your receptionist or something like that, who
Fine.
explains the whole medication to them. That would be
so
safe.
earlier we used to give file and all. Do you now still continue giving file or just in a one single sheet you give? That is what I want.
Sir, one single sheet would be best.
Best, that's what. Don't give the
Yeah.
Single
because
sheet
it
is
will
best.
carry, it will get contaminated. So better to give a single sheet prescription that will be for the time being. Okay.
Yes.
Is it safe to perform audiogram and vestibular testing in these patients? How do you do audiogram and Vishal? I'm sorry, Vishwas.
So the audiometry is definitely possible. Only thing is the air conditioner should not be switched on because it's going to be a closed system because we are testing for the sound. And at the same time, though the person is going to be sealed beyond a glass, it's likely that that room is going to be infected after the patient has visited. So we need
Yes.
to give a gap of 15 to 25 minutes and
Right.
use sterilization precautions between two patients. It can be done.
That's the point. Yes,
And
because
we
the
have
room has got a double chamber. So the chamber where the patient will be there, they'll be cut off and that will be a good protective. And only thing is you do immediately after the patient comes out, you can do sterilization spray and then give time and then do it. So, okay.
Yes.
Anybody want to add anything about for this audiogram?
Sir, along with my other staff, I have given even the audiologist 2 sets of clothes, like
Ah.
OT. So they are supposed to change into that clothes, even the audiologist.
Ah.
And then she has a sterilium or one bottle wherein she wipes those
Hey,
the headphones.
headphones.
Yeah, and
Okay.
she's also wearing face
Shield.
shield. Yes.
Yeah, all those the protective measures you have to give to all the staff. That is a must, mandatory. Even from the IR to staff, everyone you have to give this. Isn't it?
For
Yes, sir.
everyone,
Yes, yes.
2 sets clothes. I purchased it, told them to use it on alternate days, and then wash it.
Fine. That's a good
And,
idea.
and 4 N95 masks to each one of them, sir.
Yeah. That is also all we are giving N95 masks for everyone.
Yes.
Sir, a small idea for making economical N95 mask. We are giving 3 masks to every staff member.
Ah.
After using for 1 day, they will keep it in a plastic box or a plastic cover.
Yes.
After 3rd day, it will come back. So 48 hours, keeping it in a closed container, it will not wet. So the 4th day, you use the first mask.
Yeah.
Like that, we are doing rotation, sir.
We are also following the same thing. Arshad has told that we'll keep it in
Yes.
a zip bag and then we will do it. Same thing. Yeah, that's a good idea. So same thing we are following in our hospital as advised by Arshad. What, Arshad?
Yes, sir. And second, what I've got is a small UV sterilizer, sir.
Uh-huh.
So in the lockdown, somehow I managed to get in touch with my barber. And I went for a haircut and I saw that he had a small UV sterilizer to sterilize his combs and scissors.
Okay.
Then I took the address from him and I called back that dealer. It cost up 3,000 rupees. A small wherein at the end of the day, you can put the mask in that for switched on for 20 minutes or 25 minutes, and it's supposed to sterilize the masks.
Okay.
One way of
So,
doing it.
yeah. So this is a point to be noted. Even you can use a UV sterilizer as Arshad said, and it doesn't cost much, and
Yes.
you can keep it for 20 minutes, or else after the your OPD you can keep it and use it for next day. Or other thing is, as Madhu said, you can keep it in a separate pouches. Zip bag.
Paper cover. Paper cover.
Or plastic zip bag you can keep it. Paper is safer. Paper cover, you can use it.
Paper is
for a day.
safer. Yeah.
So for each day, you can put Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like that. You put and use it. That's how we can do it. Okay.
Sir,
Sir, in the same,
Sir,
sir, in
yeah.
the same UV sterilizer, I also put my watch, spectacles,
Okay.
the money
Okay. Okay.
for 20 minutes and then remove and take it out at the end of the day.
That's very, very important, I think.
Very important.
Sir,
Now
can I
it's
add a point, sir?
not to wear watch. That's what the people say. Don't wear watch.
Yes.
Yeah, mobiles. So try to avoid watch.
Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
can I add a point, sir, about
Yes,
the
yes,
N95
yes.
masks?
Yes,
The,
Vishwas.
the rotation that has been told is we can use one N95 mask for 5 times. So that means 4 N95 masks will last about 20 to 25 days. That's what
Okay.
has been recommended by the CDC and WHO. And if we are using the UV sterilizer, continuously we can use one mask for 15 days.
Oh, that is a good idea.
Yes,
So
sir, it
And,
extends.
That works out better. Not
The only additional small point is if you're using a UV sterilizer, like the way we roll the dosa on the pan, you have to
Okay.
roll this a little bit so that the UV lights touch all the things. So maybe use 40 minutes by rotating it once. That's all.
Yes, sir.
This is a good idea, Vishwas, so that 15 days you can use that means it is really good. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Somebody says that it can be washable. Is it true? Vishwas? I don't know. Vishwas?
No, sir.
No,
No,
sir.
sir. It
No, sir.
destroys the fabric, sir.
Okay,
No,
yeah,
sir.
somebody is, yeah, okay, we'll forget. No washing. So coming to the maintenance mask, UV sterilizer is the best thing for 15 days means really it is good. Instead of having 15 days, you throw it out and you can use the next one. That is a
Yes.
good idea. So this you can switch on to this technique as mentioned by Vishwas. So we'll go to the next question. Is it safe to prescribe systemic steroids during this pandemic week?
No, sir. Absolutely no, sir. Absolutely no. It will increase the symptoms of COVID virus if it is asymptomatic.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. Because suppose a patient, an emergency, has got a sudden onset deafness where we give, or even some Bell's palsy we give, so many vocal cord palsy we give. So in such situation, how do you manage?
Sir, wherever it is absolutely required, it has to be given. Like if there's a sudden loss of vision due to some sinusitis and optic nerve, or sudden loss of hearing, it has to be given. And even now there is a discussion that even in COVID patients with the lung inflammation, on the day 8 and all that, there is a school of thought where they're using steroids and they have found it beneficial. Of course, only thing is we may not use it the way we were using in the pre-COVID era. But wherever it is absolutely indicated, it is indicated, it has to be used. I think I would invite Dr. Vishal's opinion on this.
Yeah. Vishal? Dr.
Sir,
Vishal?
shall I add for this?
Hello?
Sir, Nandyal, because it's a red zone, government hospital in Nandyal is having a RT-PCR test available. We write as a special patient, he needs steroid and we are suspecting he needs to be admission. They are doing for pregnancy 100%, but non-pregnancy cases, we can write that this patient needs RT-PCR test. They are doing in Nandyal and we are getting in 24 hours, sir.
Then you start steroids, depending on that.
You can, because one day is not a, suppose sudden sensory neural loss, he needs steroid. So one day doesn't make much difference. Send it with a requisition that he need a COVID clearance. Once
Good
he-
idea. I have this problem.
Madhu,
Sir,
in these laryngeal edemas and striders, you cannot even wait one day.
Yeah.
You know, there you cannot keep waiting for RT-PCR report. It
yes.
all depends on the case to case basis.
Sir, you can give one shot, send him for test. If it is COVID negative, you start your protocol, continue. That's it.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's a good idea.
Right, sir, right. Sir.
Vishal wanted to tell something? Vishal?
Nothing, sir. Anything specifically you wanted me to speak about, sir, on this?
No, because
Steroids, about the use of steroids during this pandemic.
So, no, I think what Madhu sir said, the minimalistic approach is to ask for it, but there are situations where you won't have this option. So what we have been doing is in good faith acting upon it. That's all. We faced these situations where we are acting upon it.
Fine. So
I
depending
don't
on
know
the
if you are going to discuss about the PCR test in specific, sir, but we can otherwise discuss it later. I would like to add 1 or 2 points on that, sir.
Yeah, later we'll discuss. So next is patient request surgery. How do you counsel the patient? Deepak, elective surgery, emergency, elective part.
Sir, ideally, it is better not to do elective surgery for the next 1.5 months at least, because the number of cases are going up and the disease is probably going into the stage 3 where it is community spread.
Yeah, today you can see that 80 cases have been reported in Karnataka.
Yes. So ideal thing is to do only emergency surgeries and not elective surgeries at all.
Fine.
In an emergency surgery, I do tell them, see,
Yeah.
the first thing I always tell them, because you know you have done thousands of surgeries. First of all, the moment we say surgery, the patients are scared.
Yes.
Second, a lot of them ask me the question, this being a pandemic time, is it safe to undergo the surgery?
Yes.
And that is when I tell them that I am more scared than them to
Yes.
do the surgery, and I would not like to be in this position where I have to do the surgery. And
Fine.
then most of them accept. And again, it is better not to do the elective surgeries in the next 1.5 months, sir. Because
Sure.
now we are entering into a phase where every passing day, the load and the number of cases are increasing.
Increasing. Yes.
I feel next 3 weeks are crucial. OPD is okay. OPD is okay.
Okay,
Field
fine.
OPD is okay, yeah.
Yeah, your point is well taken. Okay, coming to emergency. Suppose a patient comes with a profuse bleeding. Emergencies are so many emergencies, tracheostomy needed. So in these cases, how do you counsel?
One has to do it, sir.
Vishal Rao, because they get a lot of tracheostomy cases. Yes. What precautions
So
you
today we-
counsel the patient?
Yeah, so I think earlier the discussion happened about the declaration form. So we often take a declaration form in all of them. We have had our formats. I'll be happy to share our formats on declaration in this, because this declaration is two-way. One is from the doctor to the patient transmission, or from the patient to doctor transmission, either ways. The second important thing in these kind of cases is most of them are emergency, and it is better to consider them to be positive than negative and err on the safer side.
Very good point.
We are-
So you treat them as positive, and then because you cannot do the testing, RT-PCR and all, you cannot do and get the report, it's an emergency. Better you treat them as positive cases and take all the precautions and do it. That is a valid point to be taken in emergencies. Take all the precautions, what you do for a positive case, and do it. Right?
So that is
sir,
what
yes.
we are our infection control committee, our hospital policy and department policy is very clear on that. Consider them positive, go with fully geared PPEs. Typically, the point at which we see the trouble happening is when you take the nick on the trachea and he's under local anesthesia, he's going to have the first bout of cough that is going to be very violent. That is where the first spray occurs. So you need to be very, very careful and diligent.
Fine. These points are very well taken. So this is how avoid elective surgery, as Deepak said. So at least for 1 month and later see the scenario, and then you can take a call whether to go ahead or not. And emergency,
What about foreign bodies, sir?
that's emergency. No, same thing.
Yes, sir.
Same as a
You have
positive
to, you
result,
have to, yes.
that comes under emergency.
Is your anesthetist agreeing to come and give anesthesia for foreign body throat like chicken bone or something?
I am extremely fortunate that I have Dr. N.S. Chandrasekhar, who has never refused a case.
Okay. That is a question that is in the corporate hospital is fine. As the Madhu said, small hospital.
So I'm facing a lot of difficulty with anesthetists. They are
Yes,
ready
yes.
for spinal for my wife.
Yeah.
When I have foreign body, my anesthetist told, sir, I am risky, sir. I have only one child. That child is also 10th class. I cannot take risks. How can
Okay.
you force that anesthesiologist to give come and anesthesia when he's bluntly refusing to come and give anesthesia?
What did you do in that situation?
So I have referred to government hospital, sir.
Okay, fine. So these are the practical problems you encounter in small places. So whereas a corporate hospital, as Deepak said, Chandrasekhar and as a senior most anesthetist, etc., they are ready to, they are experienced, so they'll give it. So that again here, the advantage is being in the corporate hospital, you can tackle such situation. In small places like Madhusudan, you have to see the situation and act accordingly, depending on the situation. Okay.
Sir, I have two
Sure.
sheets from ENT UK.
Ah,
Is the procedures which can perform within 24 hours, procedures which can perform within less than 72 hours.
Ah.
So it's one thing, it's there on the website of ENT UK. You can download just a 2-page sheet, and they have listed out few things which can be taken up as in a priority 1A, priority 1B. And unfortunately, I'm not able to share the screen. And priority 3 and 4. I don't know
Okay.
whether it's less than 3 months and more than 3 months.
fine.
ENT UK.
So now we'll stick on to this, whatever we discussed. Try to avoid elective surgery, emergency surgeries. You have to do it with the precaution, assuming the patient is a positive. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
One
Absolutely. sir.
suggestion, sir.
Yeah.
Recently, I was there with another group of same in Hyderabad. They suggested that microdebrider having an inbuilt constant suction and also a separate suction, endoscopic sinus surgery is much safer rather than using an aerosol micro ear drill.
We'll go to that later. Later we are coming to that. Okay.
Yes.
So because we are taking so much of care and all, this patient they will not know all about all those cost factors. So regarding additional cost due to safety measures, does insurance cover the extra cost, or how do you consider? Because this we are spending so much, we are taking so much of risk. The patient say we are in COVID, we don't have money. So in a private setup, how do you go about Deepak? You should tell this.
Sir,
These are the
Sir.
practical problems, isn't it?
sir, when it comes to costing, what I've realized
Yeah.
is if the first point is the surgeon should be convinced that they are taking a very big risk.
Yes.
See, the basic problem many times with costing, I am also a culprit in this. I wish I was like Dr. Vijayendra. I've improved over a period of time. But it's very important that we are not doing any cheap work here.
Yes.
See, we are putting our life at risk when you're operating on a patient or seeing a COVID patient.
Yes.
Our life is actually at risk.
Risk, high risk.
So, and we are doing these cases, most of which is, if at all, even our OPDs are elective. If the
Yes.
patient is willing to pay, let them get it done.
Okay.
Otherwise, the government hospitals are always there.
Yes.
Yes.
Sir, another
I-
point I want to add, Deepak sir.
Yes.
Sir, consistently all literatures are showing one simple thing, that mortality in these groups are higher than that of the rest. So which means if you eventually turn positive, the mortality, the morbidity in this post-operative patient group is going to be very significant. And that is something that needs to be communicated to these patients to make them understand. And
Yes.
and
Yes.
if that is the case, then all these extra costs are justified.
Okay.
I have a small suggestion, sir.
Yes, Arshad.
Sir, in the OPD, when you are doing your OPDs, you can hike
Yeah.
your consultation fees for every patient, say by 50 rupees.
Yeah.
That can be offset for the amount which you are going to spend in the OT for your PPE suits and other things later, because each PPE suit costs about 2,500 rupees.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
two are being used, it will be 5,000 rupees.
Yeah.
So when it is mentioned in the OT consumables as two PPEs used, 15 or 20 gloves have been used, or
Yeah.
these patients do not like it actually. They feel that they are not supposed to pay for it. So instead, what you can do is you can collect an extra small amount from your OPD patients, and then when you are writing this as a replacement in the OT, the cost for the hospital will be quite less. I think it's about 700 rupees or 800 rupees. You get a good quality PPE. So you can just collect the same amount, not the MRP. You can say that you have collected 900 rupees instead of 2,500 rupees. So that way you can develop a goodwill from the patients. They realize that for a 2,500 rupees PPE, they have been charged only 900 rupees. So there is one way of offsetting the price.
That is a good idea in a private small setup. So to get the goodwill of the patient, this is good. So again, here varies from the private setup and a corporate hospital. So entirely different. Okay.
Because
Good.
people,
Yeah.
the bill, they look at the number of gloves which have been built, the PPEs
Yes.
which have been built, the syringes which have been used. So those things, it just strikes them when they look at the bill. They don't like it.
Correct. You are right. You are perfect. Right. They say, oh, 20 syringe use ಮಾಡಿದಾರಾ ಜೋ 15 gloves ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರಾ? These are the things with gloves. You are right.
They start arguing about the number of gloves which have been used. If you say 20 gloves have been used, they'll say that no, I have seen people roaming around without the gloves. So
Yeah, yeah.
the billing.
See, all
That's
these
the whole
things in a
story.
small setup, it happens, but I don't think it happens in the Deepak setup. What is no, no. Right. Let us be practical.
No, sir. Even in that dengue patient who was admitted in a Delhi hospital, corporate hospital, the whole issue was on the number of gloves which have been used. So the patients sued the hospital for those things.
Okay, we'll go to the next question. So some people they say that don't accept cash. What are the precautions? What is the safest mode of payment you accept? Cash or card or the? These are so many people say they don't take cash.
Very
Just-
simple
Sir,
answer, sir. Very simple answer, sir. Even in small places like us, we are
Don't
having
take
all
money.
this Paytm code or Google Pay, RuPay, and cash
Yeah.
also. We are making a box with formaldehyde tablets. So they put the cash in that formaldehyde tablet box, and that is taken.
Okay.
Best is we are making in the Paytm, Google Pay, RuPay, 3 modes. They can, an account transfer is already there, but physically they give a cash. What we
Yes.
are making, even when we are bringing that box, that day we'll brought, keep it for 24 hours with formaldehyde tablets in that box.
No, sir, but Arshad gave a
Surveys the
very good
cash.
idea of you. Sir, but Arshad gave a very good idea about the UV sterilizer.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
in 20
No,
minutes we
UV
can get it.
sterilizer, a bunch of currency notes, UV sterilizer cannot sterile all the surfaces of the currency note. N95 mask, okay, but not a currency note in a UV sterilizer.
Yeah, yeah. You are very right there.
Sir, actually,
This is how, yeah. Arshad,
from the time that demonetization has come in, lot of patients use their credit cards and these things, sir, for payment. And invariably, around 2% of the money is going to get debited from your account for our nation building. So most of the patients are using cards nowadays. From the last 2-3 years, I'm seeing.
It's okay for metropolitan cities like Bangalore, but for our places, still cash is the main mode of transaction.
Okay.
you put it in undi, formal in undi. That is a good idea. It will get nicely stylized. No, it's an idea. It's a safe method. So what Madhu said was right. I agree with you, Madhu.
Yes, sir.
What are the precautions you take before examining the next patient? Arshad, now we have seen all the patients over. What precautions you take when you want to examine the next patient?
See, first thing is, once I see the patients, the instruments which are used, I kept a baby tray. It's a regular rectangular tray with the hypochlorite solution in that. So I don't put a tongue depressor and the nasal speculum into the kidney tray, but I rather put it in that tray which has got a fluid there, the liquid solution. Number one. Number two, as I said, the housekeeping staff will clean the table and the knobs once the patient leaves.
Fine.
And,
Deepak, anything else
And
you want to add?
washing hands frequently is another precaution, sir. If we
Sir,
never-
basically, I mean, sterilizing the endoscopes, and then, of course, I also don't use gloves. It is better to use a hand sanitizer or
Okay.
take a wash. And most important, have one assistant who cleans with even simple surgical spirit.
Fine.
Sanitizer is a perfume thing. That's all. Yeah.
Yes. Also,
Sir, one
screening
point
is
I want to add.
yeah. Yes, Vishal.
What I've been doing is I've been wearing a double glove. So the outer gloves I keep changing and the inner gloves I maintain. And at the end of 4 or 5 patients, I again change both the gloves and I wear another one. But I found that to be a little more comforting because you sometimes are using so much spirit in your hand that you get tired using it. So I started using double gloves, which gives me a little relief. Just wanted to share that.
That is the same thing we are also following in our clinic. We are using double gloves and just throw it, disposable gloves we are using. And then the first, the second gloves we throw it after each patient. Okay. That's how we also doing. Vishwas, you want to add anything? Vishwas is
Yes, sir. Can I just share my screen, sir?
Yes.
Just want to show what is done in Trustwell Hospital.
Please, please, I want to see that.
Yes, sir.
Please.
Sir, you need to stop sharing your screen. Mr. Praveen? Mr. Praveen?
Dr. Vishwas, 1 second. I'm sharing the screen. I'm giving the.
Yeah. So there are few things that we are doing in the outpatient. Yeah. So this was the half face respirator mask that we were talking about. And this is the full face respirator. Though if we do not have spectacles, these are better to use.
Okay.
And so in the endoscopy room, it is a separate room which we have. The white sheets on it keep getting changed after every patient. This is the
Okay.
half PP that we have designed with the extension onto the hands also, and then we wear a plastic apron underneath. So that,
This causes a lot of suffocation. We have tried. What you're using is more than 10 minutes is very difficult to use that.
sir, we have the AC on with the door open, so that is much easier for us, sir. And then we wear the half face respirators when we are doing this. If we are wearing the mask, that frame will get fogged. So if we are using the half face respirator, we are breathing comfortably. We do not have much of a problem. I just
Right?
want.
I'm not at all happy with this.
Okay, sir. Just another thing that we use is the sodium hypochlorite. We aerosolize
Yes,
it
sir.
using the
Yes.
nebulizer machine after every patient, sir.
After every 4 patients, actually, we just get
sir.
out and we run this for about 15 minutes, sir.
That nebulizer.
Yes. Nebulizer which contains 0.5% hypochlorite solution.
Fine. Good
Sir,
idea.
so just one more thing, sir. For the gargles meant for the endoscopy, we ask the patient to buy 4% lignocaine and ask them to do the gargle themselves. So,
Okay.
and for endoscopy, we sometimes use this, sir. If we are doing endoscopies, we have a hole in the mask and ask the patient we can do this flexible scopies this way also. If it is a laryngeal examination, we actually put the hood also if we are suspecting some symptoms to the patient to get a hole in the hood and then insert and do it in the endoscopy room. So these are the few things that we do in
The
the.
patients cooperate for this. Some of the patient, even for a regular scope only, they are not cooperative. When you cover them with so much of food and all, how do they react? I don't know. Just I'm asking.
They do, sir. They do cooperate actually. I mean, we have had patients with the hood on them.
Now that it's a COVID situation, most of them, occasionally they may not, then we have to do it without that.
Fine. Okay.
Yes, sir.
The practical problems we encounter, no?
Yes, sir.
If
Yes,
you
sir.
put the food, they may run also. They'll be
And some of them are severely claustrophobic.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's and this. So shall we go to the next question?
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
but only one thing, sir, but wearing a PPE kit and doing endoscopy and staying, as Vijayendra said, more than 10 minutes, it is really suffocating in this summer.
Yeah, that's what I told. But regularly Vishwas is doing. Probably is used to it, I think.
Vishwas, Naveen, and Subramanya, all the 3 are doing, sir.
and they're telling that they're using AC also. That one we are not using AC. That may be the other advantage.
Just I want to show you, we have made a green cloth specially covering the patient's head with only a plastic transparent sheet. Through that, the hole we are making. If you just give me a few minutes, sir, after this question, I'll show you how in an endoscopy. Still, we have not yet started because only practice is not allowed in Nandyal.
You there?
Okay, fine.
Today we have started, and I'll just show you, sir. Okay.
Okay. Okay, at the end of the OPD, everything is over now. We have shifted the patient. Now, like that, you have finished your OPD where Madhusudan has seen 200 patients. At the end of your OPD, how do you dispose PPE, biomedical waste, and your using dress what you use? Arshad?
Yes, sir. As I told, there is a tray which is kept in your OPD room with the sodium hypochlorite solution. Ideally, all the instruments which are used have to be put in that. And once it's removed, we have a small autoclave in the OPD, which is a lent autoclave. So the instruments are autoclaved there at the end of the day.
Okay.
That is how we are sterilizing the instruments, the used ones.
Fine. Anything the Deepak want to add on this?
About which one, sir?
At the end of your OPD, you have finished. How do you dispose the things? What do you use? PPE?
Sir, yeah, see, sir, PPE we are not wearing in the OPD. I am not wearing at all.
Yeah.
It's only in the endoscope room. In the OPD, I use sir, actually the best combination in the OPD would be wear a good half respirator mask
Okay.
and wear that goggles which is used in the OT.
OT, yes.
Or your spectacles. Over the spectacle, you can have a cover. You get a plastic eye cover.
What about the shield?
Shield is not always required, sir. Not at all required always. No. It is very cumbersome to wear the shield all the time. You get fogging.
No, some shields are very good. See, I got a shield. It is a U shape. It is really good. Even you can use a headlight. We use the headlight.
No.
They're very
even with the shield,
I'm showing the headlight.
Even with the shield Vishwas has designed, you can use the headlight comfortably, sir.
Yeah, that's what is showing, no? The same thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There are so many ways. Once if you start using it, you get used to it, and depending upon your comfort, you can switch on to anything. There is no hard and fast rule that you have to use this only.
Absolutely.
Safety is important. Our safety is important. And your comfort is important. And once if you get used to that, you don't feel like doing other things.
Sir, it all boils down to only 4 points, sir. Number 1, the conjunctival root. Number 2, our nose. Number 3, our throat.
Yes.
And number 4, our fingers not touching our eye, nose, and throat when we are in the OPD. These 4 points, if we can concentrate, I think there should be no problem.
As Arshad was telling, involuntary sometimes without our knowledge it happens.
No speaking is a worldwide habit. Even American president or an Indian rural man, it's very difficult, sir.
Okay, we'll go to next question. So before now we have finished your OPD, you have to go and see your kith and kin. You are going back to home, sweet home. So before entering your house after a long day of OPD, what precautions do you take, Deepak?
Sir,
till you are working for 12 hours and then going home, you have elderly patients, father and mother?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Do you take
Sir, the moment I go home, my mother doesn't allow me inside unless I wash my hand, go to the toilet, have a bath, throw all my clothes there and wear a new cloth and come.
Yes.
And now I have shaved my head off completely, so I need not worry about the hair and the virus sitting on the hair. Yes, sir.
See, now we need to wash your head.
Yes,
so
sir.
Is it a must to shave our head?
No, sir, no. The hair was anyway becoming smaller and smaller. So I thought, why have it at all? Yeah.
Anywhere it is protective against coronavirus.
Yes, COVID, yeah.
Just to share the funny part, because barber shops are not there, my son has made cutting for me.
Same thing happening everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. Vishwas, you want to add anything for this?
Nothing, sir. I mean, especially if you have toddlers at home, maybe it's better to send them to your in-laws' place. That's what I have done in my this one. And fortunately, we have 2 floors in my house, and I don't keep in touch much with my parents. I stay up on the higher floor.
This is very important thing because you have to take care of our kith and kin also. You're working
Yes,
and
sir.
you should not be a transmitter. Okay, that one thing
Sir,
is very important.
Sir, the
Sir, I-
biggest advantage is now we are not operating, so we use those cloths which are used or I mean washed in the OPD. We change to that first, and
Okay.
as we leave the OPD, we take it out first.
Fine.
Sir,
That's the
one
most important thing,
important
sir.
point, which sir I want to add.
Yes, please.
Again, from our own Karnataka data, the one consistent thing that is coming out very clearly is it is not age that is the criteria, it is comorbidity that is the criteria. So,
Yes.
whether it is young or old, anybody who has a comorbid person in his house, a diabetic, hypertensive, a heart disease, liver disease, lung disease, needs to be triply cautious. It is not about, so this is the time I say that a communicable diseases is targeting a non-communicable disease. If you look at the connection, more than the age, it is this particular pattern, and almost all of the patients that we have seen who are dying are all comorbid patients. So this is a very important message for us, sir.
Yes, yes, that's a very important message. So please take care when you go home. Play a safe role more than what you do in OPD. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So next is we'll go to an important topic. What is the role of telemedicine as on today? So to avoid all these hiccups, do you advise telemedicine, Vishwas?
Yes, sir, definitely. I mean, that is the order of the day. And meanwhile, many patients who are possibly not having the symptoms and are anxious will be happy to talk to us by a video consultation or a chat. And at the same time, if we feel that these patients require us to see them physically, we can call them over to the hospital. I mean, though we might not be able to diagnose completely with the symptoms, it may be giving us leading points whether these people need to visit us in the hospital or we can give them medications, especially in simple illnesses. And also, the biggest advantage is we prevent them from coming to the hospital and getting infected by the other patients. So it may be a good way to keep them socially distanced.
What about your consultation fees? Do you charge for these patients?
Yes, sir. The apps that we have, they have an automatic charging this one protocol where they pay the app and then that is paid to the hospital. Fortunately, we have a link up with the hospital and the app, so the hospital collects it from the applications.
Deepak, you want to add on anything on that?
Sir, Vishwas introduced me to this MFine app about 45 days back. And for the first time in my life, I've been doing online consultation for the last 45 days.
Okay.
Especially for persons like you and me who have experience of 2.5, 3 decades. It is very easy to figure out what case is what.
Okay.
And many times when they're from other states who are consulting you, like for example, you have a vast number of people coming from outside the state. You have operated 2 weeks back, 2 months back, and you will be unable to, you see, they cannot come back to you because of this lockdown.
Okay.
And teleconsultation is very useful for you to guide them at least to your good friends. Like I had one patient last week, and you told me that Dr. Monga, Anil Monga is very good in Delhi. They wanted some ear checkup. I just directed them to them. So
Okay,
I
fine.
think telemedicine is here to stay, sir.
Anybody wanted to add anything?
One point, sir. I want to add one point in this. I like you rightly said.
Advantages they are told. I want to add. Anybody want to add disadvantages?
Sir, I have a.
I want one.
Vishal is talking. Arshad, I'll come back to you. Vishal.
Just one quick point on disadvantage. See, I think the Karnataka Medical Council and several other medical councils have not legally vetted online consultations today. Little open-ended area on legalities of it, because when you hold up, when you charge, and when a transaction occurs online,
Yes.
how legally are you immune without examination is a loose end that has still not been fully defined, and I think hopefully in the next coming months it will be defined soon.
It's a
The
perfect
second
point,
thing
yes.
I want to just second important quick point I want to tell you is this is the era of reverse mentoring. You are classically seeing now. Deepak sir said Vishwas has mentored Deepak sir in this, And this is the classic era, what I call as reverse mentoring. It is going to happen. So more and more of seniors will be mentored by juniors on how to open to the new era.
Just like Arshad has mentored Vijendra sir now in this COVID thing.
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Arshad wanted to tell. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I have a point.
Plus, one more thing is this telemedicine, no, everything is recorded. Audio, video, everything is recorded. So, that one thing you should know that. Do you know that?
Yes.
And the patient, if they want, they can ask that for the clippings of the audio and video.
Yes.
Yes, Arshad, I want to listen from you.
Yes, sir. Sir, at this point in time, I have a mental block for this telemedicine concept, sir. Number one.
Yes.
Because I find there is no connect between the doctor and the patient.
Yes.
And the most important point which sticks out is the money part.
Yes.
Because when you want to reach out to your doctor, they are actually made to pay a certain amount.
Yes.
For example, now Dr. Deepak sir had said that he had a patient from Delhi who contacted him. So he would have paid him 500 or 600 rupees. And what was just directed to the patient, Dr. Monga in Delhi.
Yes.
So when the patient does that, I think that patients will not have a very great, I don't know how to tell it. In the due course of time, I may also be a part of this telemedicine, but right now, I feel these are the points which are, not acceptable personally.
I'll tell my experience. See, I consulted a patient, so I charged him 300 rupees. So, you believe it or not, in one day he called me 4 times. Every time he calls me, sir, I paid 400 rupees, sir. I'm getting this headache is not gone, sir. See, this is a practical problem I'm facing. So, this type of patients are also there. So, is it worth doing it? And plus, sir, you have seen that so many people have sued. One fellow has been asked to take a CT scan. So, he has sued it. And another pediatrician, one of the leading pediatrician has been sued because of some problem. I don't remember that. I have sent that this thing to Arshad. And also yesterday in Maharashtra, also a big case is going on. So you should be mentally prepared for this because the people who come for this telemedicine, these are all little nut people. So they will know everything. They'll write the person. He's every time is telling, sir, morning I paid, sir. I want to ask because I paid. Why don't you answer? He's asking. So these are the things. He's demanding me. Every 4 or 5 hours he's calling me.
No,
smaller places like India, we don't have that problem, and telemedicine is not popular in small places. Maybe approachabilities of shorter distances, and till now, medicine freely we are doing, sir.
Yes.
Without
Freely,
any charge.
freely you do, that's fine.
Extension to what Vijendra sir said.
Yeah.
Extension to what Vijendra sir said, I think you brought out a very valid point. So I just want to extend that and add one more point to this. Sir, what we have seen, and if you see the bigger economists today are analyzing is that this month will be the month of salary cut. Next month will be the month of job cut. And the third month will be the month of pocket cuts. Now that is where you see crimes will increase. And I must warn all the doctors here, especially that you will see this litigations increase because people will have no money and you will be motivated by small segments of these lawyers who will actually motivate patients to actually take up such kind of legal loopholes. So it is very important.
This telemedicine, no, everything is recorded. So that is one thing you should know that. Everything is recorded.
Sir, can I add a point, sir?
Yes.
Can I add a point, sir?
Yes,
Sir,
yes.
we had this discussion on an international forum recently, and a few of us have gotten together to design a document which says that we are not liable because of the distances or the social consultation. So I can share that document with all of the doctors. So it can be used whenever a patient is consulting us, they should be able to see this, sign, scan it, and then send it back to us. Only then we continue it. Though the apps recently have not inculcated it.
These are the loopholes you have to find out to get away from this because it is starting. So when you come across such patients, we will try to find some loopholes where we can play safe role. That's a good idea. Yes.
All said and done, we have been practicing for so many years now. The most important thing is there is no connect with the patient on telemedicine. There is no connect at all.
That feeling is lost, sir.
Yeah, correct. That's there.
Consultation for
telemedicine.
Arshad sir, we are now saying, Arshad sir, we are now saying that we have hand to mouth and hand to mouse. Both are there right now.
Hand to mouth. And Vishal, you are really daring that you spoke up against the lawyers being married to one. Congratulations.
I'm in a separate room. I have to tell you, I've taken her permission to speak on this.
So the carry home message on this telemedicine, play safe role.
Yes,
Be
yes,
aware
yes.
that everything is recorded. We don't
Absolutely
know
right.
when
Absolutely
we get
right.
into problem. So be careful. And as Vishwa said, if there is some loopholes to get a safety measures, then you can go ahead. That would be a good thing to do it. But at present, be careful on doing telemedicine.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
To the next, we'll go to voting protocols. We are left with another half an hour, I think. Now, okay, we'll run fast. OT protocols. What are the modifications required in OT setup before performing surgery during this pandemic? For example, myself, Arshad, and Madhusudan, we have got a setup where we cannot change much. And whereas other people from the corporate hospitals, they will have big OT, they can do modifications. So what are the modifications, minimum modifications required to start our OT practice, Deepak?
Sir, first
Before that, I
thing.
just answer for this question, sir, later. Sir,
Okay.
as per my discussion with Dr. Meghnad and other corporate sector hospital, the
Yeah.
best solution is negative pressure operation theaters. If you cannot change, go ahead with our existing theater setup. Otherwise, it's a huge economical burden to change the OT setup, really suiting to the protocols of COVID.
Correct. That's a very
Sir,
important point.
sir,
At this
sir.
point of view where the economy is so low and we also cannot spend so much of money on that, it is very difficult to change this. Yes, Deepak.
Sir, certain simple things can be done. See, it is
That is what I want. Simple things.
it is impractical to expect all the OTs to become negative pressure operation theaters.
Yeah.
Step one, try to put in more exhaust fans in your OT. They won't cost much.
Okay.
So, number two, have the same standing fans which you have had in
Yes.
your OPD. You have more and more standing fans so that the air is blown away from the surgeon towards the patient and away. And number three, when you are using, this ear surgery motor, or when you are using a debrider, try as much as possible to resist using these things. But wherever you have to use it, for example, in a ear surgery, you use two microscopic covers.
Okay.
One covering the microscope and one which is put in a reverse way, which is draping on the patient, like some of these mosquito nets, which we
Sir,
used to use.
I
with
have the
top
photos,
wing.
sir. Can I show the photos?
Yes.
Please.
Yes, sir. I'll just share the screen, sir.
That's very important thing. Yes. This is what practically we want to see. Then you'll understand better.
Yeah.
Mr. Praveen, can you make me presenter?
As he's showing, I'll keep talking.
Yes,
See,
yes.
the first thing is you have a nebulizer with hypochlorite solution.
Okay.
Before you shift the patient for surgery,
Ah.
first you nebulize the entire OT with this 0.5% hypochlorite solution for 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Number
Okay.
two, switch on all the fans and your exhaust fan.
Okay.
Number three, have the double cover.
Fine.
After you finish one case, please don't do two cases together. After you finish one case, give
Yes.
a 20-minute gap, then a 20-minute spray of hypochlorite, and then another 20 minutes of... Sir?
Fumigation. Do fumigation and then
Yes. 20 minutes of fumigation and 20 minutes of hypochlorite, and take up the next case after exactly 1 hour, which means 20 minutes gap, 20 minutes fumigation, 20 minutes hypochlorite. Totally 1 hour, then take the next case. And if you, especially in FES, if you can do it with manual instruments, it is better.
Okay.
Try to avoid the debrider. Ear surgery you cannot avoid, but at least wherever mastoid opening is not an absolute must, you can avoid that.
Avoid it.
And
Okay.
stick to myringoplasty, tympanoplasty, things like that, sir. Yes, stay peace.
I have a question for Vishal Rao.
Yes. Vishal Rao.
Vishal,
Yes, sir.
Vishal, we are talking about sodium hypochlorite, glutaraldehyde, chlorine dioxide, fumigations, and all these things. what are the long-term ill effects of these chemicals on a person's health? We may survive corona, but what about the toxic effects, the carcinogenic effects of these things in the long run? Do you have any idea about this?
No, in fact, something that very often, and if you see the WHO, in fact, for example, when people started marketing that tunnel, the Sten tunnel, this is the one thing that WHO discouraged people from saying, please don't use such kind of things because these aerosols can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
And we cannot actually loosely use them without any kind of thing. So, like Vishwas said earlier, and you were talking, a lot of black market has come into a lot of fake products, which has been using the vulnerability of the consumer to scare people and to try and oversell these products.
Yes, you're right.
And I think that is something that we need to keep in mind.
So the carcinogen potential of these things.
No, Arshad.
In the long
Arshad, the
run.
whole idea is, thankfully, we are going to use these things only for about 3 to 4
Temporarily.
months.
Temporarily.
Absolutely.
It is not that
I-
survive the
Deepak
corona
sir.
and succumb to leukemia. It should not happen
Yes,
like
yes, Vishal. Yes, Vishal.
No, I personally looking at the way the data is, I'm telling you, this is not going to end until 2021. And I have strong data to actually hold this to. The trends are not looking good, sir. So I really don't know how it's going to.
coming up is a real concern, I think.
Sir, Deepak sir, as
Yes.
my knowledge goes with other webinars, FES with micro debrider is safer. We need not worry that FS can be done much safer than aerosol forming micro ear instruments.
But Madhugaru, but
Mycoplasty
Madhugaru,
is no problem, sir.
yeah. But Madhugaru,
Sir,
before the shavers came, me and you were still doing FES for at least 6 to 8 years with manual instruments.
yes, sir, more than that.
So I'm still able to do 95% of the cases with that.
Yes, sir.
I will use a debrider only if it is required. Otherwise, no.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, Vishwas. Vishwas.
Vishwas is showing the slides, sir, actually. Has he gone mute? Vishwas,
Yeah,
are you on mute? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Hello, Vishwas, mute. Vishwas. ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. Vishwas.
I can hear you, sir.
Yeah. I can hear you. Yes.
Sir. So,
Yeah.
so this is one of the ways of having one drape over the patient and the second drape connected to the microscope, and then we insert the hand under this drape and get in our instruments here, and we'll have the hole connecting the patient and the microscope. So this is the way the mastoid surgeries can be done, sir, inside the tent, so that there is not much of spray that is happening. Another thing that has been suggested is to have plume evacuators, especially when we are using drills and bipolar cautery. So that is a very important aerosol generating procedure. So plume evacuators are almost important. So it's better to have two suctions, one only meant for the plume and the other one meant for the regular suction. Of course,
Can you repeat that, please? I didn't follow that.
so the fumes which are generated during bipolar cautery or the small aerosol particles generated during the drilling can be evacuated with a separate suction machine rather than having the same suction evacuate the ones which used for liquid suctioning. So that is mandatory for all nasal procedure, oral procedures, ear procedures also, to use it simultaneously.
Right. Okay.
So this was just the UV what we are using, sir, the UV sterilizer. Just wanted to show that. The other one is also something, a surface sterilizer, and this is the cold fogging machine. I think we can come to that later, sir. I'll stop the screen sharing.
Fine.
Sir, one practical point which I spoke with Dr. Ravi Sachidanand of People Tree Hospital is they are asking the patients to gargle with betadine 3 days prior to the surgery and use this nasal wash, dilute betadine as a nasal wash. 3 days prior to the surgery. I don't know how far it is beneficial or effective, but that's what they are following, I believe.
Okay.
Sir, one of the ophthalmologists did call me and asked me whether he can use dilute betadine washes into the nose or into the eye, which I was not very keen about because of the ill effects of it in the long term. If patient is given to do that, they might actually harm or cause more damage to the mucosa.
Okay, we'll go to the next test, the next question. So before taking to the surgery, in the present era, what are the screening tests you prefer to do? If Vishwas,
Sir?
what are the screening tests you do before taking up the patient for surgery?
So the RT-PCR test from the nasal swab and the oropharyngeal swab is the gold standard. If we can get an antibody also, it will be better because that way we'll be able to know whether they are asymptomatic or they've already passed the infection or their carrier state. And that way there is actually a chart meant for that, sir. Again, if you don't mind, I can show the chart, but I hope I'm not taking too much time. I can share that.
In the meantime, Vishal can speak as you are getting the chart ready.
Yeah,
Vishal is also heading the COVID team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vishal, your views. Yeah.
Praveen, can you shift my screen, please?
Yes, for this RT-PCR test, who has to perform the, who has to take the swabs? Are you where you send? All these things are very important because government has got certain rules. So Vishal, can you share that, please?
Happened over this RT-PCR testing, we've gone through a lot of ups and downs over the last 2 months.
Yes,
With government first not allowing it, now partially allowing it, and now even if it's allowed, its cost being too prohibitive. Now at this juncture, naturally every surgeon would desire that he has this COVID test before he goes ahead with this.
yes.
Now, like Vishnu said, the antibody tests are available, but we need to know that WHO has clearly said.
Yeah. No, please, we'll talk about this RT-PCR test only. So how do you do? And see, the private labs, they're not taking up. So what is your opinion about that? I don't know. Whether private, how they are doing, Deepak and how they are doing, I don't know.
Andhra government has given permission to start private RT-PCR labs. Now Kurnool is going to get in another 2 days. So
In Bangalore, they're not given. But the Sauri lab people, they're not supposed to do it. If you want to do that, you have to take swab and then you have to go on app, and then from the app you have to load, and then it has to go to the lab. If it is a genuine thing, they will do it, and then the ICMR has to give a opinion. These are the very laborious procedure. It's not that
Yes, sir.
easy.
Yes.
My knowledge goes. I want to know this.
Another submission here. For you to do a PCR, first of all, you need to have a PCR machine which costs about 15 lakhs odd.
Yes,
Then
yes.
you have a BSL-2 facility. Then you need to have a trained personnel. After that, you need to have an ICMR license. Following that, you will need to be able to charge those patients. So this is a big process by itself, which is why even Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore is not doing COVID testing, having 10 to 15 labs, PCR machine.
Now, very easily, we are telling you do the RT-PCR test and take up the case. It's not that easy to get this RT-PCR test.
It is not at all easy.
Yes.
And
Then
if you
how
send a,
Also,
Yes.
what's very important is, I had told this again earlier to the government of Karnataka that we were taking throat yield rate in a throat swab is 30%. The yield rate in a nasopharyngeal swab can be as high as 80 to 90%. But
That's the
ideally, you should have a
virus load will be more in the nasopharynx. That's why that is the most ideal place to be taken.
And that is, while it is an ideal place, it is the most difficult place to take by an untrained person. We don't have any training programs today.
Yes.
There is
and
no training programs for any of these people. It is arbitrarily taken now.
And it is most dangerous also for the surgeon to take that, because if it is a positive case, you are very closely associated with that. So now we are telling that before surgery, we will do RT-PCR test. Is it practically possible to do this in routine today practice?
The day
sir,
will
no,
come.
no.
Sir, the day will come.
Answer, no.
We have to live with COVID for another 2 years. The day will come. RT-PCR will be available.
No. I'm talking not about the day, Madhusudan. I'm talking today. Today.
Yeah.
People are telling they are doing surgery after RT-PCR. Is it practically done?
Sir,
Andhra Pradesh, we are
sir,
going to get in a couple of days, sir. I
Okay.
don't know how far
Sir,
we are
sir.
there to do.
Yes.
Negative, we can go ahead and do the surgery. If RT-PCR
Sir,
negative,
let me explain, sir. Practically, what's happening is
Yes.
the BBMP has laid out a guideline that it is not mandatory that you have to do an RT-PCR to do an elective case now. It is not mandatory. So what we do in Trustwell Hospital is we have a pulmonologist, Dr. Shivlinga Swami Salimat. He examines every patient preoperatively.
Okay.
Only in those patients in whom the history is suspicious of a COVID, we send them for RT-PCR. Because
Okay.
only those patients the government hospital agrees to do the test.
Okay.
The other elective asymptomatic patients, if you send, they send it back saying that this patient does not have the history,
Yes.
deserve
Yes.
a RT-PCR.
Then will you do surgery for them?
100% we have done surgery on those patients whom they have not said because the clear guideline is that RT-PCR is not required for an elective surgery or even an emergency surgery.
How sure
where
are
there
you
are
that he is not a carrier?
How can you be sure?
Yeah.
You cannot be sure.
But you are taking the risk, isn't it?
Emergency surgery you have to do.
No, I'm not talking about emergency. I'm talking about elective surgery.
Sir, elective next 1.5 months, better not to do it at all. Otherwise, you take a calculated risk
Because
and do it
Vishal
with
said better
precautions.
do RT-PCR test and then do surgery. So
Sir, it is much easier to do an extensive cholesteatoma rather than get a RT-PCR done
yes,
in today's
perfect.
setup.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
It is totally cumbersome, sir. It is impossible.
Vishal, you want to say something?
No, I just want to say I agree with this that it is not mandatory and we should not be dwelling towards this. But if the patient says he wants it and if the hospital is willing to do that thing, get it done. But otherwise, nobody can say that I won't do this particular procedure because we don't have the COVID test in an asymptomatic person with no history in any of these areas. I would like to just add one point.
Better to play safe role in this case.
Dr. Vishal,
what is the role of rapid kit test, IG and IgM?
There is no role in rapid antibody test today because the WHO says the sensitivity of it is 30%. And
30%.
naturally, it can be done for surveillance, but not as diagnosis. That's all.
That kits, what you are getting is none of the kits are genuine and
Yes.
it's illegal. It is not legal.
Legal. Okay.
So you are not supposed to use that. And if you ask lab people, they are selling, where did you get this picture? No, it is totally illegal and it is a punishable act if you use those things.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes.
To Vishal, is it true in a general hospital where the abdominal surgeries are being done, the peritoneal fluid has more viral load than the nasopharynx or the oropharynx and the lungs? Is it true?
Yeah, so this particular thing was widely debated, this article, when it came up, saying that after that many the earwax will also have COVID or not. I mean, this is taking it to another level. I don't even think we need to delve into such kind of thing. While these body fluids are known to show viral shedding, the body fluids will show viral shedding in several settings. The current thing is this has no diagnostic or prognostic significance at this juncture. But we don't know about, definitely it could have had, but this is not worth pursuing any further. And I think they've taken it to the pinnacle of research to say that whether that body fluid had it or not is our opinion.
I would like to add one thing. We compare, I have got a lot of general surgeons. So they're day in and out, they're doing regularly without any fear, as we are scared because we are, because they're very close. That's my observation, I'm telling. What do you think? General surgeons, they're doing quite regularly their surgery. They're not much bothered about as much. We are scared.
Maternity obstetrics in the whole India, they are all doing without any RT-PCR.
Yes.
Cesarean sections, hysterectomies, all maternity emergencies. You just asked me, you cannot avoid a maternity emergency. And how many are undergoing RT-PCR? And all are safe. And other thing is, sir, 95.5% of Indian population and 135 crores, today death rate is only 2,640. What is 135 crores population? I feel COVID virus is not that much very disease at all compared to road traffic accidents. How many people are dying from COVID virus? Very less. Hardly 2,640 till today. But
For your information, that score is given. Do you think it is a realistic? It is not.
sir, maybe not realistic, but
Yes.
maybe there are crores and crores asymptomatic carriers going in the society.
I
But they are
agree.
helping the whole country by developing herd immunity. We are actually benefited by these asymptomatic carriers in the country. Why India is being protected? All countries are now looking at India. Such a population density. Why so many death rates are less? Why Italy, America, England? I spoke to Dr. T.V. Krishna Reddy in England. 12 doctors in his hospital got infected. But the death rate is too high. Some factor in India is protecting. Otherwise, there would have been minimum lakhs or crores of deaths in India.
Can I add to that?
So many
Sir.
virulent viruses are there. Some viruses are very virulent and
Yes,
which
sir.
is causing more mortality. For example, if you take the viruses in Gujarat is found to be a more virulent than any other places in India. The
Yes,
death
sir.
rate is more in Gujarat. Probably there is a different virulent viruses are there. Some are very aggressive, some may not be. Okay.
Sir, one point I wanted to add. Here, we are currently in government of Karnataka with the support of ITBT ministry already developed one machine that is going to replace PCR. We've already showed the prototype. The current thing is started validation. It's a non-invasive sputum test that can be done using this particular machine, which will replace the PCR completely. Now, the cost of PCR from 50 lakhs, which is the overall cost of it, will go down to a simple BSL-1 facility with a 2 lakh machine, which you will be able to do, which we will be able to supply to the hospitals in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We are confident. Number two,
It's a good job.
the DRDO team, one of the former directors of DRDO has taken a very big lead in guiding the government of Karnataka in this, and he explained a very beautiful theory, which I would like to reiterate again in this. So this is something which we are jointly writing a paper on. He has explained a very interesting phenomenon, which we are currently working on, that in India, especially this particular strain of the beta coronavirus has been very commonly found in the animal species, especially in cows, bats, as well as in the stray dogs. And they felt that while this particular thing was happening, there has been a lot of cross immunization that had already developed in the Indian population, which could possibly explain why we are not getting so vulnerable to this particular virus, maybe because there has been a small degree of immunity that immunity passport we've already developed. So we are currently writing this paper. I'll be happy to share this paper in the next 2-3 days with you all, just to understand why we believe. And then we actually contacted a group of veterinary doctors who are working with us right now. We've already isolated 1 or 2 animals who have got coronavirus, and we are working on it very interestingly to find out how this cross community is actually happening. So this is a very interesting thing that we will share with you.
Good news.
One point, sir, by June 1st, I am sure, keeping the economical collapse of the country's economy, letting out the lockdown, develop the herd immunity, 50% of herd immunity, that is one. No more coronavirus that will happen in 6 months. And we need not worry about the drastic deaths of happening in India.
We'll hope for the best. Madhu, you're right. Okay, we'll go to the next screen share. Vishwas.
I have finished, sir. I have finished showing it, sir.
Pradeep, can you go for screen share, please? We are running short of time. We'll just brush through another few questions are there. And
Sir, just one point, until the RT-PCR becomes freely available, it's said that the combination of the pulse oximetry and the HRCT thorax are very good screening tools as far as biosurgical is concerned, sir. Both the things, the oximetry and the HRCT, but how many can do it, the HRCT thorax, is something we need to discuss.
what image you get in HRCT thorax?
So,
It
it is-
will not show anything. Only if there is affected, then you will have. Otherwise,
Asymptomatic, it is not seen, sir.
asymptomatic, you don't get anything.
Yes, sir. So the
Because we are talking in perspective of surgery. So
Yes, sir.
pre-operatively, if you want to do a CT scan, it doesn't give any much information.
Yes,
Is it
sir.
not?
So the Maharashtra
Yeah.
government, they were actually contemplating this, combining the CT and pulse oximetry. So it was just
all for the positive cases where they're affected, it will be
I
fine.
don't think it is practical, sir. I don't
It is
think it is
practical.
practical.
And we are talking about the pre-operative patients.
Yes,
So,
sir.
yeah. Okay.
Screening tests, yeah.
Yeah. Next question. In the case of screening test is negative.
This is over, sir. Discussion over, sir.
No, pre-operatively, the patient turns out to be positive after the surgery. Will the doctor be held responsible? Elective
Vishal-
surgery.
Vishal to answer the question.
Sir, again, that's why the declaration form is very relevant.
Yeah.
And I think in this setting, we need to clearly understand that there is going to be 80% of our patients who are going to be asymptomatic carriers. So,
yes, that is very important.
now this depends on the geographic region. If the geographic region that you're coming from has already had an extensive community spread, you need to give a double dose of counseling to them, saying that there is a high likelihood that you may get symptomatic in the next few days, and hence you may be in an incubation period. So, there is a very high chance of mortality in that group, especially if you turn to be positive later on. And that communication, like Arshad said, should be put in a declaration form to communicate with them, because they cannot blame the doctor. He convinced me for the surgery, and that's why I underwent it, and now I'm dying.
Okay. Now we'll go to OT. How many staff doctors, anesthetists allowed inside the OT? And now the problem is, what is the fate of these trainees, fellow residents? See, we cannot allow them to come inside. They cannot learn anything. What is the fate of them? Deepak, can you answer this?
Sir, first thing is minimum staff and minimum doctors and anesthetists.
Okay.
Whatever is required, that is minimum only. Number two, the fate of the trainees and fellows and residents is that they have this risk of getting infected. If they can tolerate a PPE and stay there inside the OT and watch, why not? As long as they don't add to the infection actually. Only thing is they will run the risk of getting the infection.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. And any special measurements should take for anesthetist?
Sir, anesthetists actually, they have a different filter.
Ah.
See, Dr. N.S. Chandrasekhar uses for intubating each of these patients.
Okay.
And they have a air scavenging system. And again, in Trustwell Hospital for the anesthetist and ICU staff, we have given them the full face respirator mask, which costs around 15,000 rupees. That is extremely safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Sir,
small setup like Arshad and myself, what we should do?
Sir, even in your setup,
Yeah.
you must go for these half respirator and full respirator masks
Okay.
for the anesthetists and the core staff which are there inside.
Okay.
And second, as I said, exhaust fans and
Ah.
big standing fans. And the direction of the fan should be such that the storm goes away from the surgeon and the anesthetist towards the patient and away. The OT staff and the anesthetist should be protected from this.
Okay. Coming to the surgery, you prefer local anesthesia, general anesthesia, Arshad or anybody?
Sir, again, general anesthesia, they say, the literature says, even if the anesthetist sprays that 10% spray
Yes.
on the mucosa, that itself will cause an aerosol and the virus gets suspended in the air, number one. Number two, I had seen a picture of a glass box which the anesthetists use. They cover it and through that they intubate the patient.
Yeah.
Arshad, one point, and in addition to this, it's very important for us to check in our OT if the scavenging system is working correctly.
Okay.
Very important.
But again, Vishal's scavenging system is again for those theaters which have lamellar airflow, etc., and in big corporate setups.
Correct, sir. Correct, sir.
Small daycare OTs will not have it.
No, I know. I'm just kind of reiterating that
Yeah.
point that wherever
Yeah,
the scavenging
yeah,
system is
yeah.
there, it is better to
Yeah.
have that, sir.
So, Vishal,
Another point I want to add to Vijendra sir on the fate of trainees, sir. Sir, I think like the way you have been conducting these training videos and other things, this is the time that trainees need to completely revamp their strategy in terms of online learning, sharing of videos, learning pre-operatively because the number of cases they'll see is very less. So this is the time video learning will have to take an upstage, sir.
fine. So, next question, we have spoken about this aerosol generating procedures. This
We
is
already
same
spoken,
for all
sir,
those
yes.
things. Yeah, we already
Over, sir. Over, sir.
Suppose one thing is the long procedure like Vishal cases, they may take 4-5 hours. They want to do laryngectomy with a neck dissection. So, do you take any precautions or do you take help of another surgeons to continue? What is your protocol in a long procedures? Deepak and Vishal can answer.
Sir, in long procedures, especially in otology or whatever,
Yeah.
it is always better to have two surgeons, one who is your associate who does the first half of the procedure,
Okay.
and the second half is done by the senior surgeon. Because it is very, very important that the senior surgeon is protected at all costs. Because we know for sure, generally by the time we become seniors, we also add on some comorbidities.
Yes.
So it makes a lot of sense that a team works where the
Yes.
younger surgeon does the first 2 hours of the surgery and the next 2 hours is by the senior surgeon. And this PAPR, the power air purifying respirator, it is
Yeah.
the ultimate respirator if anybody can buy. It is expensive. It is
Ah.
1,80,000 for the power air purifying respirator, but it is worth its weight in gold. You will not feel any
Just
suffocation,
explain the
no
functions of
sweating.
that. Can you
Yes.
just
Yes.
tell me the functions
Sir,
of that?
it is battery operated. The only
Yeah, I've seen
disadvantage
that.
is that the BS. And it
Yeah.
basically drives in air which circulates within your mask, which
Yeah.
is a completely sealed unit. And it is also temperature controlled, which means you don't feel suffocated, you don't feel claustrophobic, and you don't, have sweating and fogging and all that.
Is it
It is,
aerosol protective also?
yes. Absolutely.
Which company, sir?
Absolutely.
Which company, sir?
Sir, this is again 3M company produces this. It
Ah.
costs about 1,80,000 rupees. Though we don't have one in Trustwell, but if it is really fantastic. Maybe Vijendra sir can look at it. Yeah.
And the viral load which gets into the surgeon is very less if you are using these things.
Yes.
Okay.
But even those other respirators which we are using right now are also very good and relatively less expensive.
Yes, yes. But that can be reused.
Vijendra, sir. So
Yeah,
that
yeah, absolutely.
local and general anesthesia for stapedectomy and myringoplasty.
Ah.
Still, I feel local anesthesia is much better than general anesthesia, anesthetist, and aerosol formation. And while coughing out in the reversal of the anesthesia, that is more dangerous than simply doing under local anesthesia, ear surgery.
Yeah, somebody was telling about it. If we're doing a local say, patient coughs, if they vomit and all, they'll.
Yes.
That is another disadvantage also we should think of. No, just sir.
Yes,
What
sir.
do you say?
Sir, in this COVID times, general anesthesia is better, sir. Any
Okay.
day. Yeah.
So we'll go to the next question, probably last question. There are so many different guidelines from various authorities. Which one should we follow?
ICMR, because it belongs to our country,
Yeah.
and they ICMR is the best for us. Vishal will be able to throw better light on this.
Vishal.
If you see, a lot of these guidelines are based on geography, based on behavior, based on economy, or based on the current setting. So, like sir said, putting the safest one currently for us is to use the ICMR guidelines. However, I must tell you that the ICMR guidelines also has certain things in it which cannot be fully practical in a grassroots setting. So I think a lot of the times we'll need to keep the benchmark as ICMR, but also look at realistic settings, which I think is to be reading between the lines. So, for example, one of the things that we told them about quarantining doctors, Dr. Ravi Mehta, our pulmonologist, actually brought it up to the government to say that if a doctor, for example, he's fully wearing a PPE and he goes and he has examined a patient, which in 2 days comes to know is positive. Now,
Yes.
in that case, the doctor will get quarantined. Now, if you continue to go on doing this, you will have no doctors left. So the CDC and Singapore say that these doctors are low risk category and hence you need not actually quarantine them, but they can be self quarantined if there is suspicion. So such kind of adaptations is something that we will need to keep doing based on realistic perspectives and give feedback to ICMR also.
Yeah, I agree with you. If you see, practically the same thing has been followed in UK. One of my close friend, he himself had, and he was not quarantined. So even all family members got it. So this is one thing you have to look into it. Okay. So
For the guidelines, I have one question.
uh,
I am supposed to take the 5th weekly dose of HCQS tomorrow. Should I take it or not?
Vishal, what is your view about HCQS?
you know, sir, off-label use of HCQ has been one of the most controversial ones with no valid proof.
And plus complications.
Yeah. So, Harshad, actually speaking, we know in India with an antivirus, there has been no complication. But if you have no retinal disorder, no liver disease, and no cardiac arrhythmias, you can take it. No harm. But about its benefit, nobody knows. Until you actually come close to the virus, nobody will be able to give this proof currently. So I don't know whether there is any guideline that can tell us this truth. New England Journal of Medicine has clearly stated that there is no role. Annals of Medicine has stated there is no role. So for Trump, who's actually strongly believing in this, we don't have anybody who has strongly supported this now.
I have already completed my course.
Vishal, for the doctors who are working in COVID hospitals, they are on this HCQS prophylaxis, and I don't think any of these doctors have got affected so far, despite working with COVID patients. So has
Vishal, have you taken HCQS?
and everyone has taken HCQS.
I have taken.
I have taken.
I have
I
taken.
have not taken. Okay, friends, we had a
Thank you.
very nice discussion. It was out of our routine topic. We all discussed whatever we knew, we shared. We don't know whether it is true or false, but the message is,
Sir, in the whole world, nobody has a final say.
yes,
We have honestly been practical, and you have directed a very practical discussion, which
Yes.
would be useful for us as of now. Yes.
only carry home message is please take care.
Yes.
Take utmost precautions, treat all the patients as positive, and also take care of your kith and kin when you go home. Don't forget that. And all of us pray God that shortly this corona will leave us and we'll back to our practice and conferences that which you are missing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
Thank
giving me
you.
this
Thank you.
opportunity.
Thank you for this
Thank you,
opportunity.
sir.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Micronaut people for this wonderful opportunity. And also all the viewers, we think we have shared some good points or carry home message. I wish all of you to start practice as early as possible and we pray God for this. Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Good night. Good night.
Right.
Hello. Yeah, tell me, man.